Hello beautiful people, it's Bridget. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a foundation routine, like a whole face routine. So normally when I do like a 3 looks 1 palette for a review, or I do a little mini Instagram tutorial, sometimes my foundation and my face will be done just because I feel like people get tired of seeing the same base face stuff over and over again. So most of the time I skip it, but today we're going to do an in-depth video on how I do my primer, foundation, concealer, setting powder, contour, highlight, blush, everything like that on a normal basis, since most of the time I do that off camera. So today I'm going to give you an in-depth review. I do have dry skin, but I do think this will work for oily or combination skin as well. Just a little disclaimer. Also, if you have dry skin, I'll give you a couple of tips on how you can keep it kind of under control. And without any further ado, let's jump into the video. Alright guys, so as always, all products used on this channel are cruelty-free. Also, I cannot see myself, so if the angle's weird or something, I'm very sorry. We are trying a new lighting kit out today, and I'm very uncomfortable with it, so let me know if the lighting looks good or trashy. It's fine. So let's get started with primer. We're going to start with the Becca First Light Priming Filter. You can use anything, but really for primer lately, I've been wanting stuff that has a good amount of moisture to it, because with the weather changing and it is freezing cold, I'm wearing sweaters again, my skin gets very dry. So anything that has like a little bit of moisture to it, I'm here for. So you might notice that I have no lower mascara or no lower eyeshadow, and that's because I did my eyes first. 99.999% of the time I do my face first. I am not an eyes first person, because I feel like if you do your eyes first and your brows and stuff, then you have to carve around with the foundation, or you could just do your face first and then just put everything on top. So this is not my typical setup, but I don't want to come here bare face. So next I'm going to take a eyeshadow primer. This is the Smashbox Lid Primer. I don't do this all the time, but if I'm wearing it for a long period of time, I will. I'll just go right here. This one kind of smells like paint. Put a little bit of primer here, and I'm just going to rub this in. It just is to stop creasing, basically. So next, while the primer is still kind of fresh on the skin, I'm going to use the Too Faced Born This Way in the shade Cloud on a beauty sponge. This one is the Beauty 360 Perfecting Sponge. I sent Daniel a picture of my Real Techniques orange sponge. I said, can you pick me up another one of these from CVS? And he brought home this. So this is what we're using this week. I don't know how I send you a picture of an orange sponge and you bring me a blue one, but that's a man for you, I guess. I like to start off with the lower half of my face. I'll go ahead and put all the foundation on and blend it in. And don't do my forehead, just because I don't want it to take too long of me blending this out and it starts to settle up here. So we're just going up and down. We're not streaking it, smearing it, and we're not using too much pressure on the skin, because we don't want it to go all into the sponge. Now I'm going to put a little bit of product on the end of the sponge and really carve out around my eyebrow area. Now I don't feel like the coverage is enough, so I'm going to go back in and put some more on my cheeks. This shade does look very light with this lighting setup, but in natural light it matches me fine, so don't give me any crap. I literally have a ring light and 2 umbrella lights and an overhead light on my face, not on my body, so that's why everything looks different on me. If you see over here, I don't have anything foundation here, but you can still see my scalp and it's the same color, so it does match me. So next is concealer. I go with 2 concealers most of the time. This is the ColourPop concealer in 002. I'm going to put a little bit under the center, just to brighten up the area. Then a little bit on the nose, and a little bit on the chin sometimes. And as you can tell, I have acne and stuff right now, but I'm not going to go in with this concealer because it's too light. I don't want to add attention to it. And next I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape in Fair Neutral. Oh no, this is Fair Beige. And I'm going to do my little scar on my forehead. The rest of my under eyes. Right under here where I have a little bit of redness. And then we'll cover up under the chin and on the acne spots. I know a lot of beauty channels cover the entire underside of their eyes with a concealer, but I think that's kind of crazy, so I'm not going to do that. Make sure you go into these lower lashes with the little pointy tip of the sponge a lot. That way there's no redness coming through. Next up for setting the face, I'm going to use the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. This is translucent light, but as you can see, it's pretty dark. But I still use it because it's a really good powder. Now admittedly this does turn kind of yellow on my under eyes. I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is a completely different color than this is. This is much more white, this is much more tan, because this color in this powder is more yellow based and it's not translucent, but it's just a beautiful powder and it sets my under eyes to perfection. So I think it's great. I wish it was actually translucent and light though, because I want my under eyes brightened. That's why I use all these two different concealers that are so bright. But when I set it, it looks darker than the rest of my face. I'm now going to take a Real Techniques powder brush and set the rest of my face. I definitely kind of pack this on, but not straight, so the bristles impact my foundation. I want it to be kind of on the side of the brush. That way I don't get any streaks or anything. I don't swirl it around the face. That's going to mess up my foundation. I just kind of pat it on with the side of the brush. Now that my face is set, I'm going to take the damp end of the Beauty Blender and just kind of tap under my eyes because they're looking a little dry from the powder. And that's the end with no foundation on it. It's just kind of moist. Next up, I'm going to use the Color Icon by Wet n Wild Reserve Your Cabana bronzer. It's a very light bronzer, and I'm just going to go on with that powder brush again and really just dust this very lightly, barely touching my face, over my cheeks and my forehead. This just gives my skin just a tiny little bit of a glow and a little bit of a dewy finish to it, like barely anything noticeable, but I feel like it makes a difference because it just brings a little bit more light and a little less matte look to my skin. And as you can tell, I have a lot of dryness over here today. I need to skip a day of doing makeup, honestly. Next, I'm going to set my face. I always set my face after I powder. I'm going to use the Drug Cosmetics Slay All Day in Cucumber, the cucumber scent. And now I'm going to wait about 2 minutes for this to really settle in my skin and not be wet anymore. Because when we're doing contour and stuff, I don't want wetness on my brush and my product and stuff. So I'm just going to wait for this to set in. Now that I feel like the setting spray has all done its job, I'm going to use the Lorac Pro Contour and the Sigma F83 Curved Kabuki brush. This is my favorite contouring brush now. I'm going to leave everything I used in this video, like the primer, the brushes, everything, linked down below if I can find them. So I'm going to use this into the light shade, the light contour here. And since this picks up so much product, I'm going to tap off any excess powder because this is very pigmented and this picks up a lot. So now I'm going to go, you can see I have a line right here. I'm going to go right on top of that. And this little natural line I have will be the bottom of my contour. I think it's the shape of this brush that I really like because it distributes the product without making it look muddy, or sometimes when I use a regular contouring brush, I'll get it kind of muddy under here because it'll just kind of stick in my little, I guess my little divot of my cheek. But this one just really evens it out. I hate when I have a pimple like right here that physically hurts. Like I'm going over it with contour powder and it physically hurts me. Like, you're so dramatic, pimple. Could you just not? You're not that relevant to hurt me. Also, a lot of people call me a drag queen because I bring my contour so far in, but my face is just so wide and round that I have to bring it in for you to even see it, or it just looks like I have a really flat round face. So I just bring it a little more than most people do. You don't have to go in that far if you have a normal shaped face, but your girl's got a fat face. She always has. It's fine. And I never contour my nose, so I just take whatever's left after I finish contouring my cheeks, what's on the brush, and I'll just kind of rub it on the sides. I don't actually think that helps anything, but it makes them look less stark white. And on the edge of the ball of my nose. It's not enough product to make a huge shadow, but you can kind of tell it did a little something something. As for the forehead, I just put the majority of the product on one side of the brush and brush it into my forehead and into the hairline, because my scalp is so freaking white, like legitimately white, that I know it's not going to work all the way, so I just try to get around the edges. And I always contour under the chin and bring it down to my lower neck, because I have a very fat, like I have a lot of fat right here, and I'm fully aware of it. So I just want to put a shadow there so it's a little bit less noticeable and maybe makes it bring itself back a little bit. Like, hold up, chin fat. I need you to stop. Alright, so that's it for my contour. It's nothing special. I don't do a fantastically good job, I'm going to take the end of the sponge again into the beige highlight, which is a matte powder. Go right underneath. Just because I use such a big kabuki brush for my contour that I think sometimes a little bit of product might fall where it's not supposed to be. But other than that, that's it. My contour is not very good. I get made fun of a lot for it, but I don't care because I think it looks pretty decent for what I'm working with. Now for blush, I'm going to take the Lauren Geller Baked Brush in Tropical Hues. This came in a boxy charm a while back, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to take a little dome cheek brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to blush this a little bit farther into my face. And I want to blush it into the contour. Most people just kind of put it in apples. I think if you blush it into your contour, it just makes the rest of your face look a little bit more warm. And I use circular motions with this. It's a very soft bristles brush, so it's not going to mess with my foundation, especially since it's already set. But I just feel like blushing it into the contour brings a little bit of warmth to the face. I do avoid, like when I have a huge pimple, I do avoid getting blush on that though. And then I'm going to take a little bit under the chin. Because if you have, a lot of people don't do this. Like I've never seen anybody else put blush under their chin. But I do it because if you have blush right here and blush right here, why is just this part of your face have warmth to it? So I feel like bringing it under the chin and sometimes a little bit on the forehead as well kind of brings the warmth together and brings the face together. So I swear by it. Might not make much of a difference. It's just a little bit peeking out under the chin. But it does kind of bring the face together more. So now we're going to highlight. I'm going to use the Ofra Glow Up palette. I'm going to use this shade right here mixed in with this half of this circle. Like the white, pink, and gold mixed in with that. You can use whatever highlight you want. I'm going to use the F03 highlighting brush from Sigma, my new favorite. I just purchased this like 2 weeks ago and I have not stopped using it because I've been on the hunt for a good highlighting brush. Like they're very hard to find. And I'm not the biggest fan in the world of a fan brush, so I picked this one up just to try it out because they had a sale and it's really good. I always start off right underneath, like if you do the arch my brow, right down here onto the cheek. And then I'll bring whatever's left on the brush when the most of the pigment is gone. I'll curve it around the rest of my face. But the majority of the pigment I put right here, under the arch of the brow to the end of the brow area. And then the excess on the brush brings it up. I kind of understand that sounded like it's very precise where to put it. It's not, it's just where I just normally start off. Like you can do whatever works for you. You can highlight your entire face. It's just what I do. Especially because I think it's weird when people have this part of their face, like the side, extremely highlighted. Like it looks really strange to me. So majority right here. And then I'll take whatever's excess on the brush on my Cupid's bow. And then I'll dip in a little bit for the bridge of the nose and just a tink on the end. But I'm not going to sit there and blind the end of my nose like Rudolph like everybody else does. This is mostly on the bridge of my nose. If I enhance the tip of my nose, I already think the tip of my nose goes out too far. And I don't want to enhance that. So we avoid putting a ton right there. And I'll put a tiny little bit on my chin as well just to bring the light together. Now I'm taking a tiny little Sigma E36 brush. Honestly, when I ordered this, I thought it was going to be like a lot bigger. But it's very detailed. I'm going to go into that white highlight and just tap a little bit underneath of my brow bone. Then I'll take my pinky into the white highlighter and just brighten my inner corner. I've tried a million different brushes trying to pack on the inner corner highlight and stuff. And some of them work wet, but I feel like it might take away from my concealer. And then when I use a dry brush, a lot of it kind of trickles down or it comes too far out. So I feel like my pinky is the perfect like indicator of where to pack on the inner corner highlight. And then whatever drips down, I'll just kind of touch. Alright, so I'm going to do my lipstick and the lower lash line, and I will be right back to show you the finished face. Alright guys, so this is pretty much it for the look. Of course, I set my face afterwards again, just to lock in everything else we put on top of my foundation after we set that. But, I mean, I feel like my skin looks really good. It does not feel too dry. I do have a little bit of dryness visible on this side of my nose, but I just have very dry skin. I do think this foundation routine will work for oily skin as well. Just maybe pick a more matte foundation for you. I do definitely enjoy the way my foundation looks. I think it looks really good. I mean, I know the contour didn't look good when we first did it, but I feel like it melted into my skin. It looks really nice now. Like, I'm very happy with how this turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if I do anything differently than you, Also, please let me know if you were an eye first or foundation first person, because I'm definitely the foundation first person. Today was a little bit weird doing it opposite. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, I think this looks really good. I'm actually pretty proud of how my foundation usually looks. I feel like my skin looks very clear, even though I have major acne in some parts of my face sometimes. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. If there's any other, like, how I do this type of video you want to see, please let me know and I'll certainly do it for you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.